Walk in.
And then we cheers?
Cheers.
Okay.
All right, let's roll. Fireside Chat episode 3, baby. Phil, thanks for coming, brother.
Thanks for having me, man.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I should have had you first instead of that guy AJ.
Making me follow AJ and Sal.
Oh, come on. You're fully worth it. What's going down?
Not much, man.
We got a nice little fall night for a fire.
Fall is here. Fall is here.
Last episode, I thought I was actually going to have a heart attack.
Yeah.
I don't know if people saw.
You looked a little sweaty.
I was sweating down my face. I was like beet red.
Yeah.
It was good though. So obviously, you saw the other 2 episodes. You know, we're all friendly with AJ as well as Sal.
Yep.
So you know what this is all about.
Yeah.
And there's actually something I wanted to point out of how humble you are, and I think is great. When I reached out to you to say, hey, Phil, I'd love to have you on Fireside Chats, you said something along the lines of, really? You really want me on there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what was that about? Where does that humility come from?
I don't know, man. You know, I guess until I started thinking about it, I was like, you just had AJ on, you had Sal on, and I'm like, how do I fit in? And then I start thinking about it, and I'm like, no, I bring a different dynamic to it.
Absolutely.
You know, from a different end. And I thought those guys both had awesome interviews. Yeah. And you had great questions for all of them too, which is great. So
it's a little easier when you know you guys.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, you know, like I said, once I started thinking about it, I was like, no, I can definitely, you know, bring something in here. So
how long have we known each other now?
You were playing basketball in my backyard in, I guess that was mid-90s, right? So I lived in Lake Riviera until 2000, so probably like 95, something like that. Elementary school, early on.
Yeah, and at the time, your dad's business, which you've been working in since you were, what, 14 years old?
8.
8? Wow.
8
your
years
dad
old.
really
was doing demo stuff
early.
at 8 years old, yeah, man.
His shop was right behind the house.
Yeah. Basketball hoop was right next to the building, remember?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And how long has your dad's business now been in place?
36 years. 36 years, yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And what exactly do you guys do? I know that you do cabinets. I know you've worked with some of these big brands like Jersey Mike's and Bubbakoos and Boscov's and Dick's. What do you exactly do?
So we do custom millwork. So that is custom cabinetry for corporate spaces, medical spaces. For Jersey Mike's, we're doing cabinetry, countertops. And then in like the Boscovs of the world, we're doing store fixtures. And again, they're all custom units, but production as well. So we're a high production shop, but custom. So very high quality. We utilize all types of different materials. We're on the cutting edge of technology. So we're able to do big rollouts like that. And then we can do high-end custom kitchens, you know, at the same time. So the name is what it is, Diversified Fixture, and we are diversified in what we do.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty impressive to me when you had all these warehouse businesses leaving the U.S. You guys have a father-son team right here in Lakewood Industrial Park with what? Your warehouse is what, 20,000 square feet?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's a pretty large warehouse.
Yeah.
You're running a pretty big operation.
Yep. Yeah, we built it. We own the building. We own the land there. So we own all our equipment. You know, so it's state-of-the-art facility for sure.
So one of the things that I wanted to bring you on about is we hear a lot from the AJs of the world who is an acupuncturist who has the ability to grow any brand that he puts his mind to. He did a little bit of the online business. You're the blue-collar guy who's doing exceptionally well. And I think that our country as a whole has gotten away from that a little bit. I know everybody right now, due to the pandemic, is struggling with getting employees. But it seemed to me for the last 10, 15 years, I have a lot of contractors as clients, that they've always struggled to get some skilled labor in their fields. And you're going out there and you're bidding these jobs. So you and I have talked about a job recently. We don't have to say the name of it, but you know, $1 million job. You're going in for a very large hospitalization system locally, and you're trying to figure out these plans, how you're going to run this at your shop, how it's going to make you guys efficient to make sure that you're profitable as well as making sure that you win the bid. That's pretty impressive to me. I don't think that many people understand how to do that. Can you elaborate a little bit more on how that process goes?
Yeah, so there was a lot to that. So finding employees is obviously a struggle. It's been a long time struggle for us because we're looking for skilled labor, you know, and just there's a complete labor shortage, especially now. We've never seen it this bad, but it's always been bad. We're fortunate because we have a crew of about 25 guys that a lot of whom have been with us for a long time, and I personally take a lot of value in that, and pride. You know, like I really respect the guys that work for us. I appreciate them, and you know, I hope they know that because they're very valuable to us. And
well, we did a Costco run as a family, the four of us with the kids a couple weeks ago, and you're grabbing all this coffee and random stuff for the office. I'm like, Phil, you don't drink coffee. You said it's for the guys. You know, that's what I love about you.
Yeah, it's just little stuff like that, you know, and something that my dad's always done, you know, and we always butt heads, you know, through running jobs and whatnot, but at the end of the day, we're all on the same team, and everybody, you know, works very well together. And there's hundreds of years of experience combined between everybody there. So that's always my priority, is making sure those guys know that, you know, we appreciate them, and I try not to let that slack. As far as putting all the bids and everything together, it's a lot of work. We go through a lot of
now that's years and years of experience to be able to bid a job like that.
And we, you know, again, we're looking at it from how can we make this the most high quality product, but also profitable. And a lot of guys will sacrifice one for the other, and we don't do that. You know, we will always give you the highest quality, the best service, but we're doing it efficiently as well. We're able to do that, whereas, you know, because of our machinery, because of our guys, our skill set.
Your systems, you guys have
We have systems in place, we have systems in place, and that's come from 36 years of doing this, you know, and everybody's experience combined. So there are a lot of work to get these jobs, these big jobs, this, you know, this, you know, $750,000 job, it's a lot of work. I have a lot of time into it, we all do.
But it's worth it at the end of the day.
They're worth it, yeah. They run nice. We just did, you know, one phase of it, and it's great. You know?
So what would you say to the guy out there who is like, or the girl that doesn't know the route they want to take? You know, college is, you know, unaffordable, if not overpriced, in my opinion. You know, everybody's on Instagram and Facebook. They're driving their Lambos that they probably rent, and you know, they're slinging houses, or
looks good on Instagram though.
They're finance guys, or they're all these white collar jobs. What would you say to that guy that's maybe on the fence? What would you say to him to make him come into an industry like yours at Diversified Fixture?
Dude, there's a lot. So I was not a school person. I hated school. I went to school and I fucked around with my friends. You know, we all did the same thing.
I was well behaved, Phil. I don't know what you're talking about.
And it wasn't for me, you know, and I knew that early on. Like I didn't like school. I did some OCC, you know, some community college, but at the end of the day, like, I knew I wanted to work in the business, and I truly did. You know, I saw the life that my dad was able to provide for our family. You know, single income family for a long time, and I knew that I wanted to do that, and I do enjoy the business. You know, like, you know, some days you're like, fuck this, but it really, for the most part, it's enjoyable. So I knew I wanted to do that. I knew school wasn't my route. And I had a lot of people at the time, like when we were juniors and seniors in high school, and they're like, you got to go to school, you got to go to school. And I was like, I don't want to go to school. You know, I went through going to look at schools, and I'm like, first of all, I didn't have the grades to get into school. You know, it just, I didn't care about it. It wasn't my focus. And
let me stop you right there, because I think about this to myself all the time. How did I have the intuition or wherewithal to think at a young age? Obviously, I'm not really great at school because they kicked me out, so I wasn't doing that well. And I knew I didn't want to go force myself to sit in a classroom and have them teach me things that I didn't really have any interest in.
Right.
What do you think it was in you? Because at the time, you're still unsure of yourself. Like, am I going to be successful? I'm seeing a majority of the people I know go off to school. What do you think was in you that allowed yourself to have the confidence to say, I'm going to go be successful in either my dad's business or something along this lines?
I think it was very much, I never agreed with the education system. To this day, you know, I still don't agree with what they teach. I don't agree with how they teach it. I think a lot of it for guys like us, it's pretty useless, you know.
Blanketed.
Like, it's just yeah, it's a lot of bullshit, and you have to go through it. And then, you know, when the college stuff was starting to come up, I'm like, all right, this is cool. I'm going to go to school and I'm going to learn about business, and that's what I'm going to do. And then it's like, well, no, you have to go through 2 years of bullshit classes, and I'm like,
you gotta
I
do
don't
science.
need that. You know, I'm not going to waste my money. I'm not going to waste my parents' money if they were going to contribute to it. And you know, there was a lot of people like, you're crazy, you're not going to school. I mean, there was 4 or 5 of my core group of friends who we were in the trades, and we knew school wasn't our thing. They went to Voc. I got out early to go to work. My dad just picked me up from high school at 11 o'clock.
That was the best.
And it was, you know, it was great. And circle back around 4 or 5 years later, I'd run into these kids around town at Wawa's and wherever, and they'd be begging me for a job after they just went and spent, you know, 150, 200K at a school, and they still didn't know what the fuck they were going to do, or if they could even do it, you know. So I think there's a lot to be said for that, and I think there's a lot that these young kids coming up need to understand. Like, you can make a really good living in the trades, and it's skills that are going to carry you through everything you do. You know, it's you know, when are you going to use biology if you're not a biologist? You know what I mean? Like, if you're a plumber, if you're an electrician, you can provide for your family and take care of the house that you live in. And
the education system, we both have wives that are teachers.
Yeah.
So we have to be careful to a certain degree. Actually,
Yeah.
I don't care. Fuck 'em.
Yeah, I don't care either.
So, you know, coming up, I was a kid who struggled with paying attention in school because, again, it didn't gain my interest. And I had teachers who would tell me that, you know, essentially you're not going to amount to anything.
Right. Yep.
And I used that as fuel. A lot of people said that to me in my life because I didn't want to buy into the brainwashing system of, all right, there's 1,000 kids in a graduating class of a large school like Bricktown, 600 to 1,000, whatever it is.
Yeah, huge.
You're all going to teach them essentially the same curriculum.
Yep.
How does that make sense?
It doesn't.
Everybody's mind works differently.
Yeah.
So I think because you have that indoctrination that comes down from whatever level of government that pushes it down into the states, I think that they all want us to be just in their world and in their system. And the people at a young age that don't do well in that, I have come to discover they are some of the most successful people.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
I think that I want to get the message out there from guys like you and other people I have on this, that it's okay if you're not doing well in the traditional route. Like, be okay with being the outsider.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I fully believe in that. I'm very passionate about it.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And, you know, we try to hire kids from the vocational programs and stuff, but they just don't, even that, they still don't do a great job of promoting this. Like, I've offered, we're a local business, state-of-the-art factory. I will have kids come in on a class trip and give a factory tour and entice them. Like, hey, woodworking, custom cabinetry is not just working on old school machinery in the vocational shop. Like, this is some real world shit, and we're running $1 million worth of equipment. You know, computers are programming these things. Like, you can program a computer and work within this industry, and they don't do it. You know, they just won't do it. And I don't know why, because I think it could be very beneficial to the kids and the programs that they're running.
I think it's, again, the system that's pushed. Like,
just the system,
you got to go to college. You got to stay in school.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just not something I believe in, but we don't have to stay on that topic too long.
No, you
So-
know, I one of my lead engineers right now is actually, you know, was one of my best friends growing up, but he went to vocational school for cabinet making. We hired him in 2003 when we were all juniors in high school, and he's been with us since then. You know, and he's running a large part of the operation, and he's doing fantastic at it.
Actually, you could tell him that Phil, I'm mad at you, bro, because I want my built-ins made. All right, I know I'm small.
Yeah, we have to get on that. Yeah,
You gotta
this
get my
fall.
built-ins
Fall.
in. You gotta get
Fall's
my
here.
built-ins.
We got to get going on that.
Full fire, new built-ins, great Instagram stories.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I want to jump into father-son team. I've been around, you know, some friends of mine, Chris Carbone and his dad, rest in peace, Mr. Carbone, ran the tile company with their brother John as well. I've seen that dynamic. I've seen many other clients and their sons or moms and their daughters It could be extremely difficult at times.
Yes,
Tell
it
us a
can.
little bit about the difficulties, and then we'll get into the great stuff about it.
So one of my things, and I again, I knew this very early on. My dad used to wake me up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go help him demo a building that he owned, or sweep the shop, vacuum the machines when I was 8 years old. And at the time I was like, why the fuck are we doing this? Like, I'm a kid, but it really instilled a great work ethic within myself. And if there's one thing I'm going to pat myself on the back for, it's I'm a hard fucking worker.
You were up till what, 1 o'clock?
Yeah,
last weekend doing bids.
I'm doing a lot of stuff at night because I really can focus at night when I'm not interrupted. The phone's not ringing. I don't have people fucking crowding in my office.
You're not doing sales. You're not bidding
I'm
jobs.
not worrying about anything except the stuff that I have to do. And it's really, you're a big proponent of working remotely, and it's really been great. Like, I've really been able to stay more current. I'm doing estimating, which I don't want to do, but I'm doing it because we're shorthanded right now. So
people looking for a job. Diversified
yeah,
Fixtures.
we are hiring.
They need a good estimator.
Yeah. But so he instilled a very strong work ethic within me from an early age. There's definitely challenges with it. We butt heads. We have differing opinions sometimes.
From a different generation.
We're from a different generation, and he's a very hard-nosed, everything is about work, and being a hard worker, I still believe that there's different ways to go about it, and kind of have a balance.
We were joking the other day, not to interrupt you, but we were talking about how can't you get any 15-year-olds to go work at Finn's, right? My friend Sean and Pat own Finn's.
Yeah.
It's very hard to get young kids to work, or even a young kid to come in and intern in your shop. And I was joking, I was like, maybe because they're making more money off crypto on Reddit.com, I don't know. But there was something about that generation and the generation before them that really knew how to just forge forward.
Absolutely, yeah.
And sometimes I think they need to just do it for themselves, right? They need to show up to the shop, whether there's something to be built that day or not, or there's paperwork to be done that day or not. They need to go to the shop for their own mental thought process on work.
Yeah.
And I don't believe in that as a different generation. I think you could be more efficient and spend more time with your family.
Yeah, and that's the biggest, out of all the things I do outside of work, my time with my family is the most important. I appreciate them more than they'll ever know, and I don't ever want
they know.
I don't want to ever say, repeatedly that I can't go do this or I can't go do that, and my daughter's wondering why I'm working, 7 days a week all day long. So
cheers to you on that, because you spend a ton of time with your wife, who I observe as your best friend, and your beautiful daughter Charlie.
Absolutely, yeah, it's the best, and so I don't ever want to miss those things, and I have also no problem working till 1 o'clock in the morning to make sure that my shit's in order and I can be done with whatever I needed to do in those hours that I may miss on a Saturday or Sunday. You know what I mean? So. But one of the biggest things I knew from very early on, jumping back, was that I didn't want to be the boss's son. I didn't want to just be the fucking kid who went there, got a paycheck, whatever size the paycheck was, and did fucking nothing. And I think we all know a lot of those people, and I just knew that I did not want to do that. Like, so I spent my summers working. I literally was running machines when I was 10 years old. And
that's why it's super impressive to me. A lot of times you just say things, and this is why back to you didn't think you had value. The way you talk about these very large jobs and very large companies that you're working with and bidding on, it just comes second nature to you. Yeah. Sort of like me talking about money or tax or a certain financial vehicle. Yeah. It's kind of like I could do that in my sleep because I do it every day. But that's very impressive. All these things that that's from essentially since you're 8 years old, so how many years is that?
Yeah,
now?
35.
Yeah.
So,
It's a long time.
Yeah.
To know the industry that you're in, and it's very impressive what you do know, and that is a kudos to your dad, whether it's good or bad.
Absolutely.
That's definitely.
Listen, I said for a long time, and I still do. People would say how's it working with dad, and I say, I hope to have, you know, half of the knowledge that my dad had about running a business like that, the business, like the stuff we do, construction, whatever it was, and I've been able to retain a lot of that stuff, and again, going back to like the education, because that's what I'm interested in. Like, I can do really good at things when I'm interested in them, but when I'm not, I'm like, fuck it, I don't care, you know.
Check out.
So that's definitely kudos to him, and you know, I would have liked to enjoy some more time off when I was a younger kid, but you know, it is what it is. And
you take it off later though.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in that you cannot be the boss's son. And people think, oh, they're like, you know, oh, it's easy to take off. No, it's fucking the hardest thing in the world to take off when you're when in my position anyway, you know, because the older guys, they don't think you should have time off. You know, it's like
last week you were trying to go fishing on that guy's 72 Viking.
You know, I fish a lot, and it's a very time demanding hobby, but it's very, very important to me. And not that work or my family isn't important. You know, it's just it's something that's it's a passion of mine. I love being out there, but it's a big fucking time suck, you know. But I will bust my ass until 1 o'clock in the morning so that the next day I can go fishing. And a lot of times that's not seen. You know, people are like, oh, where's Phil? He's off again. Well, Phil worked till fucking, you know, 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, so he could be off today.
I think Sal and I, or AJ and I, said this in the last time. You know, a lot of people, I think I was talking about me in the backyard. Oh, Ryan's hanging out in his backyard working from home again.
Yeah.
They don't actually see the work that you've put in, not only then, like in the here and now, but also, you know, the years prior.
Yeah, Sal had a good point. You know, he busts his ass, you know, not only to make a good living for his family, but to have that freedom, you know, because it can't be all one or the other, right? You have to have a balance, and you know, a lot of people don't get that, you know, and it's
definitely a difficult thing.
Yeah.
So tell me something super difficult about your business, right? I want the show to be honest. I want the show to tell me something that you feel is a big struggle in your business, and then how you overcome that, either mentally, physically, or just finding a solution to the problem.
I think I would say, I don't know, there's honestly so many different things that come into play, but right now especially, we're dealing with material shortages, material increases that we always had you know, increases on materials, but it would be 3% once a year. You know, we're dealing with 20% within the last 4 to 6 months.
And this thing is completely out of your control.
Out of our control. You know, things that we could always get, we can now no longer get, or we can't get it easily. And when we're bidding on jobs, a lot of our competition, they could be guys that are working out of a shed or a garage, and we're running this big operation with a lot of overhead. These guys are not taking into account the 20% increases, the shortages. They just aren't. They're wrapped up in building a cabinet or building, you know, whatever they're building, and they're not focusing on the business end of it. So when we're bidding jobs right now, we should be at a 20% increase,
yeah, that's super,
just to cover our fucking costs.
Yeah, that's super frustrating.
And it's so frustrating, you know. So we're still bidding jobs and having to cut down to what we were doing pre-March of 21, you know, and that's very frustrating. And the labor shortage is very frustrating. You know, we're paying people to sit home and do fucking nothing right now. You know, not us. Well, I guess all of us combined. But
September, at least in Jersey, they said
I don't know.
They stopped it.
It's really crazy.
Murphy, who's a billionaire who made money off of everybody in the financial institution space, he's now, I guess, somewhat of a socialist.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's political on here. I don't know, but
yeah,
he's okay. But let's take a quick bourbon break. We're back. Took a little break. Today we're sponsored by High Noons. Not really, but hey, you know what? They should sponsor me. Cause
High Noons and WCC.
We're going worldwide.
Look at that.
Hey, quiet in the peanut gallery over there, right? Yes. So Phil.
I got the director over here.
Yeah, director. He should stick to sticking pins in people.
That part's good.
So we talked briefly, and we all jump around. I'm the worst with it. But we talked about the struggles with father-son team. Quickly go over the positives of working with family and all the great things that you have really learned from your dad. We talked about work ethic, which is a good thing and a bad thing. He was grinding you at 8 years old.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
talk about the positives working with family.
They're endless, honestly. There is. I was able to learn a lot from my dad, like I said, very early on. The hard work ethic, how to successfully run a business, and I've just been able to absorb so much with not only business but like the construction aspect of things. He started out. His family owned a home center in brick in the building that we used to play basketball next to, and it was like a mini Home Depot. They sold hardware, they sold paint, they sold coal. Coal was.
That was your grandparents?
That was it was my grandfather's business, and my dad lost his father very young, at 17 years old, or 17 or 18, right? So worst thing that could happen at that age, and he was forced to go to work. He was the owner of that business by default, instantly, and so this is just, he's been running businesses since he was 17. He's 66 now, so he has a lot of experience, and I don't think you build the type of business that we have with the amount of investment that we have if you don't know your shit, right? So like, we may butt heads. I may have a new way of doing things. He may think my way is fucking stupid, or I may think his way is stupid, but at the end of the day, he's built a very successful business, and
you guys have a pretty big business, and you're super humble and don't talk about it, but you're multiple
we have
seven figures.
Right, yeah. We have a very successful business, and I'm very much looking at it from like, I'm ready to take it, and do things more my way. And I think that he respects that. Some days I think he thinks that. Some days I'm like, this isn't gonna work, but I've been able to learn a lot from him. And like I said earlier, I always hoped to be able to absorb like a fraction of what he knew and learned, and I think I've done that. And I will give myself the credit in the fact that I've been able to do that, absorb a lot of his knowledge, and then tweak it to how I want to maybe do things, or how I see it, because I think we both see things different. But I know a lot of father-son teams who cannot literally work together, and they probably are no longer father-son teams. They can't.
What was that bike show? Orange County Choppers?
Oh, dude,
those guys suit each other, hate each other.
Yeah,
didn't talk
man,
for years.
it's crazy, the shit that you see, and I knew contractor. We every now and then we'll build a house, and that's like a fun project for us. Like we'll build a spec house, and I think it's really fun for him because he went from owning a home center to then doing remodeling and decks and additions and new construction, and then that all morphed into starting to do custom cabinetry in '85. And so
well, I'm interrupting, but we're getting off track.
Yeah.
Give me two good things though that you take away from a family business, a father-son team.
Well, the first I think is if you can work together, you can learn a lot from the previous generation, right? So I've been able to learn a lot from the first generation. I unfortunately never got to meet my grandfather by a long shot, so I didn't get to see his work ethic, but I've seen my dad's from the start, obviously, and so I learned from that. And secondly, I think it can be really rewarding. Like I look forward to, and even now I hope that my dad sees what I'm doing, the effort I'm putting into it. And again, a lot of times I'm like, he doesn't fucking see this, but
I think they do.
Yeah, they do, and I think they're just very shy to let you know that.
Quick example, Jim Hortenzio. He's actually a senior partner of mine in my business, and I don't actually like to give him too much credit, but he actually is a very intelligent guy. Him and his partner, Mike Marino and Vic Miro, they've run a huge successful practice. And Jim always talks about how his dad essentially, thinks that he's not doing the numbers that he's doing.
Yeah.
And Jim will never tell him, but he was always very difficult on him. And I think that was that old school mentality where it was like,
absolutely.
grind, and you're looking to take the torch and do it differently, but they still think in order for you to be successful, they got to make it hard on you.
Right. Yeah,
so
yeah.
you're used to it. And I do believe there's something to that.
Oh, I agree. I think it's
tough leadership.
Point blank, I think there's a lot of soft fucking people out there right now. And
a lot of soft people.
because they have not gone through hard times, or they haven't been taught like, hey, shit's gonna hit the fan eventually. At some point, shit's gonna hit the fan, and they're just not hardened enough to deal with it, and that generation has been through a lot of shit. They've been through multiple recessions, they've been through losing parents, they've been through
taking care
whatever,
of parents.
divorces, whatever it is, taking care of parents. And so I just think there's a lot of value in that. And these kids, these grown-up people who are soft fucking people are just not equipped to deal with that. And I think that comes from lack of being able to absorb something from an older generation
around you.
And my dad was hard as hell on us when we were growing up, very, very strict, very by the book. And I was never by the book. I still am not by the book to this day. But that instilled a certain dynamic within myself.
And, you didn't realize it built the subconscious.
Yeah. Like I don't deal with, I don't take shit, I should say, from certain things, and I'm able to decipher like, hey, I can deal with this. I'm gonna be a little bit more mellow about it, or like, no, fuck you. I'm moving on. I'm done. We're good here. So
yeah, the family business has been very good to you guys, and something I wanted to touch on, maybe we can get to in a few minutes, is how you succeed that business. It's very hard to pass a successful business from one generation, at least a small business, to the next. We're not, Home Depot. We're not Lowe's. You're still a small business. Whether you do multiple seven figures or not, you're not in the $1 billion range, and it's very difficult to pass that down, and we'll touch on that in a minute. But talking about family, I want to stay on that topic. I don't think that a lot of guys like myself, you, AJ, and other guys around us that are hustling and putting in 60, 70 hours a week sometimes, maybe even more, how difficult it is to juggle getting the time in as a dad and as a husband.
Yeah.
Elaborate down on that a little bit.
It's tough, man. You hear AJ when he had his fireside chat. He's working. Sometimes he doesn't go to sleep. And I think a lot of people like to brag about that and make you think that they're busy, make you think they're working. Like, oh, I was up till 4. Yeah, we were up till 4 watching fucking
partying.
Whatever you were doing. You maybe checked an email and you said that you were working, but the guys that are able to say, hey, I'm going to take off and I'm going to hang out with my wife today, or I'm going to hang out with my daughter, or whatever it is. They did that the night before. They worked until 4 o'clock, or they didn't go to sleep at all, so that they can say, hey, fuck it, I'm taking off. It's a really nice day.
Or to go fishing.
Or to go fishing, yeah. And I'm willing to do all those things. I'm willing to do that. But watching, our kids are very, very close right now. And watching them grow up is just the best. And I don't ever want to miss any of that. And honestly, however much money I'm making or however much business there is to be done, it's all irrelevant if you miss that.
We're all motivated.
Yeah, I'm motivated to give my wife and daughter
good lifestyle,
the best life, that we can have. And I think it's very easy to say I'm going to work 7 days a week, because at the end of the day, going to work, it's not that hard, right? You if you like what you do, you're going there and you're like, all right, I'm gonna get this bid out, or I'm gonna put this deal together with another client, or I'm gonna sell another acupuncture class, and so those things are very motivating, and it's easy to say, all right, I'm gonna do this. It's not easy to say, all right, I'm stepping back from that for a day, or half a day.
Especially when you're driven, it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard because you're driven, and it's hard because all that shit starts to pile up, right? So if you go a day, like when we go offshore, right, I don't get emails, texts, nothing. It's the best thing in the world. No calls, nothing. If I want to get a hold of you, I'm getting a hold of you, and that's it. Sat phone. And I come back and there's 60 emails that have to be answered, or there's a bunch of texts, and it's like, so you have to be prepared to like make up for that somewhere.
Yep.
You know, but
I'm going to jump ahead, but you do an excellent job at being a dad. You do an excellent
Thank
job at being a husband. And although you could probably spend the whole podcast or fireside chat talking about how great your wife is, Kelsey.
I absolutely could, yeah.
I want to move on. And
Yeah.
I want to talk about your vision of your 3-year vision, your 5-year vision, eventually your dad taking a back seat, maybe totally the old man being able to retire and relax. I don't know if he ever actually can. But
I don't know.
what does your vision look like for Diversified Fixtures?
Well, I hope he does start to relax. You know, he's busted his ass for a very, very long time, and there's no one that could take that away from him. You know, regardless of whether they agree with him or not agree with him, he has busted his ass and continues to do so to this day. And I said it earlier, I'm a big proponent of work very hard and play very hard. He needs to start backing off. You know, he's worked a lot. I want to see him go enjoy the warm winters in Florida with his girlfriend or, other members of our family.
Grandkids come down.
I want him to enjoy his granddaughter a lot. I did not have grandparents growing up. I had a grandfather on my mom's side who lived in Oregon. I didn't see him more than, a handful of times. And my dad's dad obviously died, way before I was even a thought. And his mom passed away, I think, when I was about 2. So I really, now having a daughter who's 2 years old, I want her to have a strong relationship with.
You want him to dive in with that type of energy into her.
I want him to say, you know what, I'm
Leave
taking
work.
off. I'm going to take
Phil's
off.
got it.
Yeah.
So give me the vision of that. But outside of your dad, give me the vision of what Diversified Fixture looks like from an internal standpoint, from a sales standpoint, and a projection of where you want to go.
I think we just build on positivity. I'm not a person that focuses on negative. If we have a problem, I'm always the guy in the office saying, all right, we have a problem. We know that. Let's fucking solve it. Let's not keep talking about the problem. Let's not keep saying, oh, this sucks. There's no way to get around this. Like, stop telling me, no, we can't, or this is really tough. Like, we know that. We've gotten past that. Like, let's get past that and
let's find a solution.
Let's solve the problem. There's no problems. There's only solutions.
Yeah, of course.
So I think I want to instill a very positive culture within the company. I want everybody to know that they are appreciated. Having 25 employees is challenging. It's challenging for any business, whether you're in, finance or you're in real estate, whatever it is. If you have 25 employees, you're dealing with 25 different personalities.
So you want the culture to be positive.
I want the culture to be positive.
You want the people to know you care.
Yeah, I think that's big because I think, your team needs to know that you value them, right?
And you do.
And I think they know
I know
that.
you do. And I hope they know you do.
Yeah,
but I
hope
want to
so
get
too.
to the juicy stuff. I want to get to where's Phil's big vision, revenue-wise, companies you want to deal with and target, places you want to play in the sandbox.
I spent a lot of time, like when I first got into like the office, saying, oh, I'm going to go after like the Nikes of the world. I want to do their displays. I want to go after the Under Armours. I'd go in the Dick's and I'd see like the tables and shit, and I wanted to do that. And then I started to develop relationships with contractors of all sizes, right? So general contractors are a big part of our client base. And we deal with guys who are doing hundreds of millions of dollars a year to guys that are doing, $50 to $80 million a year. As a GC, those are good numbers. So I don't necessarily focus on one particular client, although with Jersey Mike's, I would go in to get Jersey Mike's subs all the time, and I'm like, I gotta fucking do their work, right? I gotta do their work. I had meetings with them, and I'm like, one day I need to get their work. And finally, 6 or 7 years ago, I started doing their work. But aside from that,
you just picked up another Jersey Mike's GC guy,
yeah,
right?
I just picked up a great, hopefully a great client out Western Pennsylvania. We're all over the country, so there's no one client that necessarily is a target of mine. I just want to have a good amount of good clients.
So give me a big target, gross number revenue that you feel you can live the lifestyle you want to live with your family. You can pay the guys that work hard for you, good incentives and good pay and good benefits.
I
Give me
mean,
a top line number you want to chase down.
I think a realistic number would be somewhere between like $5 to $8 million a year, you know, in revenue. And I think that we can do that with the facility we have. And, you know, obviously we need more staff to accomplish that. But, you know, we can get a job that's $5,000 or we can get a job that's $600,000. So you can see how the numbers will work.
Yeah, of course.
And I would like to do more high-end residential stuff, but we're so well rooted in the commercial world, and I enjoy that. You know, I like being out on big job sites. I like being out on, you know, seeing how the rest of the buildings are coming together. I like that one of our niche markets is medical. You know, like a lot of guys don't do that. They can't handle it. Their product can't handle it. So I think those numbers can work. You know, maybe we need more space, or we need a staff of, you know, 35, 40 guys. But I think realistically, I think that, you know, within 3 years, like, why can't we do 5 million?
How do you think you accomplish that?
I think we have to have targeted. We have to have a good sales force, right? And we have a great sales guy now who's making some good opportunities for us. And we had a lot of really big opportunities in early 2020, which totally went to shit when COVID hit. You know, but we've been rebounding from that. So I think between him and I and you know, a couple other clients that become like Jersey Mike's, like I'm getting other jobs out of these GCs now because we've done a good job for them. You know, so like we're not only doing Jersey Mike's, we're doing vet clinics, we're doing corporate spaces, you know, so like it's targeting those things and finding a way in through something else. And one thing is that I'm very confident in is our reputation. So we have a lot of repetitive business, we have a lot of referral business, and those referrals all add up. You're big on referrals, right? So I think that they are very valuable.
You hear that out there, clients? I need some referrals.
It's huge. It really is huge. And I learned that in a year-long sales training that I went to, and it was all referral-based. You got to get referrals. You got to get referrals.
Yeah, word of mouth is everything.
And it's so true. And our reputation in the industry is very strong.
So I want to. That's all awesome, by the way, too. I want to spin into some fun talk. You know, circling back to the kid that was struggling in school, hated, you know, the education system, you know, saw all his smart friends going to college, and I don't hate on anybody that went to college.
No, not at all.
AJ, Sal, a ton of the guys in our circle, they all went to good schools and did very well, and are doing exceptionally now. But think about how reckless we were.
Oh my God.
When we were younger.
Oh my God.
Like,
yeah, man.
How wild. I mean,
I didn't even drink. I didn't drink when I was younger.
Yeah, you were like straight edge.
Yeah, I didn't drink when I was younger. And my group of friends, we were, you know, we would go to parties and we'd be all jacked up on fucking Red Bull or something, you know, and people would be like, "What the fuck is wrong with these kids?" You know, we're jumping off of roofs into pools and shit, and but it was fun. You know, it taught you that you could play hard, and I still to this day do the same, you know, within reason now, but you know, we still have fun. We get reckless on the weekends, and you know,
like 2 Sundays ago before my vacation, we started drinking OJs and vodkas.
We went to breakfast, and we're back here drinking, and I'm like, oh my God,
it was like 11 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday.
yeah, I went home, and I mean, the whole time I'm telling my wife, I'm not drunk. I'm like, Ryan got me fucked up, you know.
Bullshit, she made the last drink. Don't blame that on me.
You know, so
that's why I do fireside chat with a couple beers with people.
Yeah.
Because there's so many people that are so uptight, and I gotta drive the particular car, and I have to have the watch, and I have to be buttoned up. I hate that shit, and it drives me absolutely insane, because you could be a regular dude. Because I told a lot of my brick friends for years, I'm like, hey guys, you know how we get real like crazy and wasted at times, right? When we have time on the weekend, guess what? The people who are really wealthy, they do the same thing and worse.
Yeah.
And sometimes they do it during the week.
Yeah, and they spend more money doing it.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, I you know, I think I keep my circle very tight, but my core group of people understand that, like, you can work really fucking hard. You can be really successful, but at the end of a Friday, like you just want to say fuck it, right?
Yeah, I don't want to deal with it.
And you want to let loose, and we do that a lot. We're
we're definitely way more calm.
We're way more calm. Of course, we're in our mid-30s now.
Plus, you're a captain. We're on the boat, as
Yeah.
Captain Phil.
I can't drink now, on the boat, but it's important to have that, and I think also like we were able to learn a lot from that shit. Like we weren't focused on a college finding out that we looked bad. Now again,
skills.
we didn't have social media, which was fantastic, but we had fun, and you know what? I don't regret any of that shit. Like we had a great time, and I think it honestly shaped a lot of us into the people that we are now, and the dads that we are. I mean, look at us, dude. We have a great time with our kids. Like I see guys
it's our
that
little
like
tribe.
Yeah, I see guys that don't do shit with their kids, or they're afraid to have fun, or they're like, oh, I'm a dad, I gotta be serious. Like, fuck that. Like, get out, let loose.
Well,
have fun
Tuesday
with
was
your
Colton,
family.
or Monday was Colton's actual birthday, and
Yeah.
Kelsey had to go, train at Basque over there.
Yeah, she was teaching at Basque.
Yoga, and you took Charlie out by yourself with Kelly and I with Colton.
Yeah.
And you just take it in stride, man. You know.
Yep.
We believe in having our kids out and being social and.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to. You work so hard to get that, right?
Yeah.
So.
Break is needed too, though.
Break is needed. Yep.
So, a new tradition starting this episode is my guests, whether they like it or not, have to have a little bit of bourbon with me. So this is Jefferson Ocean. Quick story about Jefferson Ocean. Someone was on a fishing boat, realized that their bourbon crystallized, it tasted more vanilla, caramelized, whatever it may have been. So they have these ships that go around the world. They go through different climates. They have the barrels expand and contract, pulling in the airs in a different climate. So this Jefferson Ocean, I think, is Voyage 18.
I like it.
So it's a new
Based on
tradition.
the sea.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I also want to end this with 2 questions.
Shoot.
What is your best advice? What is the thing that you think a young entrepreneur should zone in on? Something for the young entrepreneur. Run with it however you want to attack it.
Something for the young entrepreneur. I think if they have a vision on something that they can do or are interested in, they have to go for it, right? I think that's the biggest thing. I think you just have to go for it, whether it's saying I'm not going to go to school and I'm going to go and I'm going to pursue this vision that I have, whatever that business may be. But I think that's what you did. I think to some degree, while I didn't start the business, I took a full leap into it,
And you definitely have a different vision for that business, too.
Yeah, I have a different vision for it. Not that the current vision or previous vision was bad, but yeah, I think it's just natural to have my own vision for it. But I think they have to know their worth within that, right? So they have to know that they have some kind of worth to it, and I think that's something that like I sometimes struggle with, because not that I struggle with it, but just like I guess maybe I'm not aware of it.
Second
all the
nature
time.
to you.
It's just
doing.
there, Yeah. And I think they have to just
have some
say
instinct
fuck
that they
what
run
the
with.
outside people are saying to them. Like, anybody who's saying, oh, you have to do this or you have to do that. No, you don't have to fucking do anything. Just do what you want to do.
People hate on me for loving them, and they call me a never Trumper. But Trump says all the time, embrace being an outsider.
Yep.
Love, hate, whatever you think of that guy, it's not politics. That guy is 1,000% an outsider, and he's had a tremendous amount of success.
Yeah.
So I think that's great advice.
And I think they have to. I think you have to go into it with the goal to be a respected leader. You don't want to have employees or clients hate who you are or not have respect for you. Like you have to earn that respect. Respect is not given.
Yeah.
You have to earn that respect.
I think that's
no
like
matter what you do.
I think it's like a lost thought process.
It is
in young
it is.
people.
They're just entitled. They think that they're entitled to. They think that they don't need to give you respect.
Myself included. Sometimes I'm pretty hard-headed, and I have a vision, and I chase it. But you still need to respect those people around you that you're looking to have them believe in you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's great advice. My second question: local business owners, like we're talking Point Pleasant or Brick or Spring Lake or Brielle, give me 2 business owners and then a quick synopsis of why you want to mention their names and what you love about their business.
So immediate location in Point, I would say Colonial Ranch. You and I both know Brandon.
Love those guys.
That dude hustles. They have the best food, I think, in the area. We still have to do our tomahawk, and Brandon, we're coming for you for that recipe. But he's that's another family business, and he's dealing with it on the retail side, which dealing with customers every day is not easy, So I think Colonial, and I'm gonna have to say Advanced Air Duct Cleaning, who is
your cousin.
My cousin, Billy. Again, second generation.
They did our house. The kids that showed up were so respectful, so professional.
Yeah.
And they were like letting my son bother them the whole time. Great company. The whole family's great.
Yeah, again, they focus on their quality and their customer service. They don't cheap out. They're like us. They're not trying to be the cheapest on the block all the time, but they're always striving to be the highest quality, highest service. And
I want to drill down on that more real quick though, just to hop back to Colonial. Brandon, Billy, I don't know all their names. There's a bunch of siblings, but they lost their father young.
Yep.
I don't, forgive me guys if I don't know. I think it was maybe a heart attack or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. They lost their dad young, and they were thrown a business in their lap that, in my eyes, is a pretty big business.
Hell yeah, it's a big business.
And it's super demanding, and you're working on the weekends, you're working on the holidays. Quick story about Brandon, just to give these guys a commercial. My in-laws were down for Thanksgiving. I cooked the turkey a certain way with my parents and my in-laws, not my in-laws, my aunts and uncles, and that was the way I thought about Thanksgiving. Kelly and her family did it a different way, so we ordered 2 different turkeys. Long story short, we pick it up, the turkey was wrong. Brandon drove over at 8 o'clock at night, the night before Thanksgiving, and brought us a separate turkey and didn't allow us to give the other one back, which we ended up donating.
Yeah.
That's the type of dedication those siblings have to that business succeeding, and that stuff goes overlooked, but that's super impressive to me.
Oh yeah, and he's done this similar with me. We host Thanksgiving every year, and we have, I think we're up to 26 people at our house. We do all the cooking. I love doing a turkey, and every year I order the biggest turkey I can get, and every year I get 4 pounds smaller, and then I'll be like, I really need a bigger turkey. And he goes through the back and sifts through hundreds of fucking turkeys, right? And he comes out and he's like, hey, I got a bigger turkey for you. You can have this one. And the first time that happened was 2 years ago. I actually had checked out, paid for my turkey, went out to my truck, and as I'm getting into my truck, out comes Brandon.
Yeah, he said you took the wrong one.
Running after me. He's like, hey man, I found one that's a few pounds bigger. This sounds so stupid.
Yeah, but it's such a big
deal. It's all part of that. And now I will go to Brandon forever for a turkey.
Yeah.
Not only are they fucking really good, and I send Brandon pictures
I don't get meat anywhere else. I'm not even just saying that because we're on camera. I don't get meat anywhere.
I don't either. My wife goes in there every week. I go in there every week. I take my daughter in there. They give her cookies.
Yeah.
She has to go.
Colton loves the horns.
Yeah, she goes and she goes, I want to pet the bull. So we're petting the bull. People are looking at us like, why the fuck is this guy letting his daughter touch the bull above the meat counter? But it's a great place. Great quality food, and
we can go on. For
we can go on and on. Yeah.
Too much niceness to Brandon. Brandon, get us some better steak. Come on.
Yeah.
On
we
to
need
your
that
cousin.
tomahawk.
Onto your cousin's business. That air docking business to me is something I don't think most people actually think about.
Yeah.
On any type of regular basis, like the dust that could be accumulating in your vents, and
it's crazy.
I was having a lot of allergies, and after those guys came through, they sucked out our fireplace, they sprayed out all the vents. Great company, but I've been able to peek in just briefly since we reconnected as friends over the last 2 years. That family.
Yeah.
And from an outsider looking in, I'm sure like every family, no one's perfect, but great people.
Yeah.
Small business that started with nothing, the dad, and the mom starting it, and then the sisters were involved. You know, your cousin Billy. How many siblings are involved in that business?
Him and his sister.
Two.
Yeah, Teresa.
So two.
Yeah. They're great. They're the best. You know, Billy and I have been literally together since we were 1 month old, and we both grew up in a family business, but he grew up not really wanting to be super involved in the family business, and then, you know, through changes in life got very involved in it, and he's killing it. You know, he's doing a great job. He's growing the business. I wish I got to see him more. You know, it's even.
But
just
he's
talk
also
about it,
a husband. And
but
a
he's
dad.
a husband. He's got 3 kids.
Yeah.
You know, 3 great kids. One of them is
Back to how hard that is
my
to balance
goddaughter.
it.
You know, so it's great. And again, they're focused on providing the best service that they can, and he's fucking hustling. You know, he's hustling. And again, same deal. My uncle's still out at the shop working on trucks. He maintains all the trucks. You know, him and my dad are best friends, and they're both the same age, and
they think alike.
They're just hard-nosed guys, man. They don't want to quit, and you know, but yeah, great company. Billy's doing a great job. I think.
And their full name again of the company?
Advanced Air Duct Cleaning.
Advanced Air Duct Cleaning.
Yeah, they and they're all over the state, you know, tri-state area probably, but it's a great company.
Listen,
what
I have to notice is that you didn't try that bourbon yet.
Yeah, gotta give this a shot.
Let's take a shot.
Let's see.
You take a little sip of that.
That's good. That is good. Now, I'm not a big bourbon guy, but you know what? I think after the little story you gave me about it being from the sea and everything, I'm like, I gotta fucking try it. You know? It tastes great. I'm taking this on the boat at 3 a.m. tomorrow when I'm leaving.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Guys, thanks for coming by. I hope you tune into the whole video. I know some of these get a little extended, but it's hard to grab someone's, you know, life story and business story in a quick 25 minutes. So I appreciate you guys that have tuned in, and we have some great people coming up. The next person is very well known, pretty big on social media, as well as a super cool story that's tied to a lot of local UFC stars and other sports figures. So I hope you guys tune in for all that. Thank you again. Have a good night.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming.
It's great.
Seriously.
Good time.
Cheers.
Thank you.